Joe Rayo, welcome to Conversation with Cardinal Dolan.
Joe Rayo, thanks for coming on. He's a hero of mine. Now tell us about that recipe for the meatballs at Rayo's restaurant. We're teasing that's a big restaurant. Wrong Rayo's, huh?
Wrong Rayo's.
Well, you'd be making a lot more money than a meteorologist if you had that restaurant.
I can tell you, I enjoy doing what I'm doing.
Yes.
I've been doing this now
Plus,
for a number of years.
I could get a table if he were that Rayo.
You're just going to jump up in front of the screen and start giving us the old, here comes, the front is coming in.
I thought this was the Catholic channel, not the Food Network.
When you got me on, the two are synonymous. Right. Now, what's coming up this? I didn't know about it. I'm thrilled you're on. So
Sunday night, January 20th, we have a total eclipse of the moon. And it's going to be visible to everyone on the night side of the Earth who has the moon above the horizon when the eclipse occurs. 2.8 billion people, weather permitting, of course. If you have clouds in front of your eyes, you won't be able to see this. Hopefully the weather will be clear on late Sunday night. Starts in the New York area around 10:30 in the evening.
Way to go. Sunday.
And it's a beautiful, beautiful sight. But the confluence of this event of the future coming up and an event that took place in my life 50 years ago.
I remember it, the Reader's Digest story, right?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Really? Yeah.
It was in the October Reader's Digest.
That's where I got to know Joe from St. Benedict's Parish in the Bronx. Yeah.
And by the way, your viewers, your listeners can see the story online. All they have to do is just go to rd.com/eclipse.
Say that again?
RD for Reader's Digest, rd.com/eclipse.
Okay.
And you'll get the story. But let me quickly run the story down for you. And this is why I guess I'm here with you as a Catholic and religious background to it. When I was 12 years old, I just had gotten for Christmas a new telescope. I'd gotten Sky and Telescope magazine, and it told me there was an eclipse of the moon coming up on April the 12th, 1968. Got very excited. Wanted to watch this with my telescope, make observations of it. My footsteps toward getting into science, And then I was told by my mom, wait a minute, you have to go to church that night. It was Good Friday.
April 12th was Good Friday.
April
that year.
12th,
okay.
1968, Good Friday. Now, the Good Friday Mass at St. Benedict's started at 9 o'clock.
P.M.?
The eclipse, P.m. The eclipse started at 10:10 p.m. So I said to myself, no problem, because I've been to many days. I'll be out. There's no problem.
Not on Good Friday, you ain't going to be. The collections alone go that long.
You're good. He's good. He's good. Now I know why he got the Archbishop. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And here I am sitting in church at St. Benedict's with my mom and my little sister, 9:30, 9:45. I'm looking in the back. There's a big clock in the back of the church. And by 9:50, I said, I can't take this anymore. And finally, I just did something which I think I said in the Reader's Digest article, well, I'll end up in the netherworld on a roasting spit.
Right.
I bolted out of the church. Now, it's complete silence. It's Good Friday. Yeah. And all you hear now, running down the marble steps,
is little Joey Rayo. Yeah,
little Joey Rayo.
Yeah.
And then I open the big brass doors. It sounded like Inner Sanctum.
Yeah.
Run out of the church. The door slams shut behind me. My mother is dying 1,000 deaths. Oh, she's like. So when and I'm running down Bruckner Boulevard, East Tremont Avenue to get back to my house so I can get ready to see the eclipse. Not even thinking about what I have just done.
Yeah.
When the Mass ended, when the service ended, my mother is on the long line because Father Patrick Okada and his two associates, Father Aid and Father Taylor, they're there to greet everybody as they're coming out of the church. They're at the front of the church. My mother goes up, and now she has a confessional outside of the confession box. She goes up to Father Okada and says, Father, I'm so terribly sorry. Oh, I'm terribly sorry. My son caused the disturbance. My son was And Father Okada said, well, why did he leave? I'm thinking, when my mom related this story to me, Father Okada's probably saying he wanted to see a TV show or something like that. This is, well, why did he leave? Why did he leave in the middle of the night? And she says, he had to see this stupid eclipse is happening right now, and he had to get home and look at it through his telescope and everything else. And this is where Father Okada saved my life. He says to my mom, well, first of all, they stepped outside because here's the entrance to the church.
Yeah.
They said, we were just talking about the eclipse before the service tonight. We wanted to see it ourselves.
Yeah.
So we step outside, and there's the moon, and here's the first sign of the Earth's shadow going across the thing. And he turns to my mother, and he says, if your son wanted so badly to see a sight, a wondrous sight like this, that God has put into the sky for all of us to enjoy tonight, how can I fault him?
Way to go.
How could I?
Way to go.
Right?
Boy, it's good to hear a nice story about a priest, isn't it?
And he looks up at the moon. Now there's a coterie of parishioners.
Saying, what's going on? Yeah.
Saying, like looking at it. And now all of a sudden the priest is giving a little lecture outside of the church. And he said, isn't this an amazing example of the precision of the universe?
And your poor mom is saying, Joey's a hero.
Well, when she got home,
You're ready.
I'm looking at the telescope, and I'm not looking at her because I know that
you're ready for the wooden spoon.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're from an Italian family. There was either the Pagliata. This is from my grandfather who had a hard hand. And the Pagliata was in steps.
Ouch.
Pagliata number 4, Pagliata number 9. I had a feeling this was going to be a double-digit night here.
This was going to be like,
and with the wooden
14
spoon as well.
stations.
And I'm expecting, as he comes out of the car, she's coming up to me. I think, oh, God, this is my last view of the moon before. The moon was going into eclipse, and in about 2 minutes, I thought I was going to go into eclipse. But all she did was she gave me a little peck on the cheek. And I said, what happened? I thought you'd be angry. And she said to me, special dispensation.
Oh, how beautiful,
You've been absolved tonight by Father O'Connor.
How beautiful.
Wow.
You know, though, when you think about that, the number of meteorological signs in the scriptures. We just had one with the Star of Bethlehem and the wise men, right?
Absolutely.
Have you done any study of all those as to the accuracy of these biblical signs?
Well, biblical scholars have tried to, first of all, date the time of the birth of Christ and the appearance of the star. And then it leans on the astronomers. What could it possibly have been? Could it have been a comet? There's one song, one famous Christmas carol with a tail as big as a kite.
Remember?
But ironically, it couldn't have been a comet because a comet was looked upon as an omen of evil.
Ah, okay.
In fact, the word disaster means physically bad star.
Yeah, how true.
So it just started working against you.
Yeah.
So it couldn't have been a comet. Some think it was a nova, an exploding star which suddenly appears and then it disappears.
Okay.
Or maybe a meteor, a brilliant. In fact, in our family Bible, it said as a footnote, his star, as described in Matthew, a miraculously governed meteor. But we don't think that is the case either, because a meteor streaks across the sky.
Yeah, it's gone. And the wise men, it took a while to get there, and the star was still there.
Well, think about this. If it were a meteorite, that would have been one heck of a camel ride.
How true. Yeah.
Only that for a few seconds. But what we think is that may have been some kind of a convergence of several planets in the sky, which had an astrological significance to the wise men. It might have been a conjunction between Mars and Jupiter and Saturn.
What about the eclipse of the sun on the first Good Friday at the death of Jesus?
Well, that's a way of trying to determine. They're trying to use the eclipse to. Well, first of all, they use an eclipse to try to get an idea of the death of King Herod, because it said in Antiquities of the Jews, Josephus, writing about that, wrote that just before Herod died. There was an eclipse, and so astronomers are trying to figure out which eclipse might it have been. Might have been one in 4 BC or 1 BC, or whatever like that. And the crucifixion, of course, they mention about how there might have been some sort of a eclipse either of the sun or how the moon turned a reddish coloration. In fact, that's exactly what happens here. This is the cover of Sky and Telescope. And the cover story, by the way, was written by yours truly.
Way to
get
go.
everybody get everybody all ready for the eclipse. But notice, if you will, look at this beautiful color that the moon changes. Yeah. It's an atmospheric effect. But and actually it morphs. When we see the full moon in the sky, it looks flat and like a bright, shiny dime. When totality occurs, it is transformed into almost like a translucent globe of red and orange coloration.
Joel, unlike the eclipse of the sun, you can look at an eclipse of the moon without any danger.
Absolutely. I don't want anybody to go out there on Sunday night with their eclipse glasses.
No.
Because you're not going to see anything if you use the special glasses.
Yeah.
You could look at the moon from start to finish during the eclipse, and it'll be A-OK.
How does it affect like the tides and all? It must, huh?
Well, it affects the tides in the sense that because we have an alignment between the sun, the earth, and the moon, and the full moon or the new moon pulls a little bit more on the tides than at other phases. It's what we call a syzygy. And so if we have a big storm, and there are suggestions there'll be a big storm this weekend along the ocean shorelines, there may be a higher than normal
I'll be. Joe, you are enlightening. And you know what I know, apart from not only is he a good time and filled with interesting stuff, the great alignment of faith and reason. Yeah. That our faith and what science teaches us and what God has revealed are allied because they're both from the same one.
That eclipse in '68 got me started.
Wow.
I got a chance to see the eclipse. I sent in my observation, and here I am today, 50 years later, meteorologist on FiOS 1, associate astronomer at the Hayden Planetarium. It got me started. I'm hoping that Sunday night, a few youngsters out there who watch this
could get started.
Could get started
And
as well.
this was also Joe's gentle way of reminding us that he's younger than I am, because I was 18 in 1968. Joe, could we just, for the audience, you ready? 1, 2, 3. When the moon hits your eye like a big pizza. We're back at Rayo's. So that's this Sunday, folks. Thank you, Joe Rayo. Hallelujah. Thank you.